Hey, punk! Step away from the desk. To be an influential business partner, what skills do you need to succeed? My name is Cameron-Sweeney, and I interview industry leaders and experts to answer that question. Hi folks, and welcome to the second episode of the Influential Business Partner. I am your host, Cameron-Sweeney. In today's episode, I will be talking to Robin Kizak, who is a LinkedIn content creator and a finance manager who business partners. We will be covering what senior leaders want from finance managers, how new managers can influence, building your profile across the business, and lessons learned from Robin's career. Now, on Mondays on LinkedIn, Robin puts out new puns, Monday Pun Day, and I want to tell you my favourite. And I quote, "In one of my previous roles, I took my 5-year-old son to the office with me on a take your child to work day. As we walked around the office, he started crying, so I asked what was wrong with him. As my colleagues gathered around, he sobbed, 'But Daddy, where are all the clowns you said you worked with?'" The podcast also has sound effects now, and that was a good excuse to use them. Side note, for today's episode, the audio quality is not perfect. We didn't have a great connection on Zoom, but let's get right into it. So Robin, tell us about your background and something that people wouldn't know about you.
So I'm a finance manager at Wix, which is a home improvement retailer in the UK. To put it into context for Australian listeners, I guess it's similar to Bunnings in a way. Wix is cut into two. One half is related to core home retail markets in terms of selling drills and screwdrivers, those sorts of things. The other side is about kitchens and bathrooms. So they put a showroom part of Wix. So when you go to the store, you can see layouts of kitchens and bathrooms that you can buy. So I work on the showroom side of the business, which is all around home delivery. So I work on the distribution part of that. So I'm a finance manager of distribution. And then in terms of something people wouldn't know about me, I've gone for a bit of an off-the-wall one. So this was many years ago. I used to go on holiday with my family to a place called Butlins, which is like a holiday resort. Think like high-style holidays. And I once won the junior Mr. and Mrs. competition there. So I think I was probably about 6 years old, but I've still got the certificate I won. I've got the pictures. It was a family friend who I partnered up with. So that's what I'm going for, that no one will know about me.
And are you married to them now?
Oh no, it wasn't one of those sort of stories. No, we sort of, I don't think I've spoken to her for the last 20 odd years. So, but it's just one of those things that, you're proud. I've got a certificate. I was 6 years old. I've got a nice certificate. It's tucked away in my office somewhere. Yeah, that's something that no one would know about me.
Fantastic. Well, LinkedIn knows about it now.
Well, exactly.
And just as you were talking about Wix being the equivalent of Bunnings, does Wix hold a sausage sizzle outside its stores on a Saturday?
It doesn't, unfortunately. No, that's not something that it's got into. So I know that Bunnings came over to the UK and they took on home base, which didn't end particularly well for them. And I think they came in not really understanding the UK market and thinking they could plant their model from Australia in the UK, which I don't think worked out. So yeah, we don't have the sausage sizzle. That's an unfortunate thing. That's something that we're still striving for.
It's an Australian culture icon, nearly, the Bunnings sausage sizzle. You get one on the way in and one on the way out, and one for the dog. So let's get into it, Robin. So then, in terms of decision support, what do you find senior leaders want from their finance managers?
I think we hear a lot about data, and we've got no end of data, probably more data than we've ever had at the moment. And we hear about, we shouldn't be wasting our time looking at data and trying to trawl through the data. But I think, these senior managers still want data to back up what we're telling them. So I think, they want data that's relevant and timely, is how I would put it. I guess, accuracy is great, and you should strive to go for accurate data all the time. But what I've heard is that I've heard it called the iron triangle or the triple constraint about needing to choose two of fast, good or cheap. And I guess I'm not talking about salaries here, perhaps. But I think if you want fast and cheap, accuracy is going to have to take a third place. So I think that's in terms of data. And I found that senior leaders prefer their information to be directionally correct rather than having to be slowed down by just trying to get it exactly right. So I think that's a key one, is getting the data, backing up your findings and helping that decision support by having the data to back it all up. And then the other side of the coin, I would say, is they're looking for an impartial view of their idea. Now, they don't want us as finance business partners say no. We shouldn't be a block in the road for them. But they want help in solving their problems. So, don't turn into another hurdle. If there's a problem that we can help with, let's resolve it rather than being the blocker and saying, no, that's not happening. So I think they're the two main things that I've taken, is that, we really need that data to back up our findings and give that impartial view, but don't be the blocker to any good projects that are ongoing.
Yeah, fantastic. And just as you mentioned there, that they want feedback and help with their ideas. Have you ever been in a spot where you've had to give feedback to a senior leader on an idea that wasn't very good?
I guess on a couple of occasions I have, and sometimes it's a difficult conversation at that point. But I guess this is where it then comes to your relationship. So if you've got a good relationship with that person, it's not really a difficult conversation. It's more of you expressing your opinion and saying, yeah, I see where you're going with it. Perhaps it's not the right way to approach it. Let's look at it a different way and see if we can do something that's sort of aligns with your views, but doesn't go exactly how you're intending it to go, because I don't think that will work. So I think it's that thing of not saying no, but also using the relationship you've already got to discuss other ways around to get to that final output as well.
Yeah, that's a really great point, actually. If you already have the great relationship, it's not a difficult conversation. I love that. Because I do a whole piece in my keynotes about difficult conversations and using a phrase, help me understand. So then it lets them explain it. But of course, if you already have the great relationship, and that's what finance business partners really need to do, is build up those great relationships in the first place.
That's right. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's great. So then with the second question, I've just gotten promoted to finance manager. In order to influence senior leaders, what 3 areas or skills should I focus on?
And of those 3, again, touching on that relationship piece, I think that is key. Build those relationships as quickly as possible. Not only does that help with these conversations that we're having, but it also builds your credibility. So the leaders in the business know that they can trust you and they trust what you're saying. The second piece I would say is around understanding the business you're in and understand the business questions that need answering. So, it's no good going away and creating all these models that are going to give us all this information if no one really wants that data or if no one's going to use that data. And I think part of that is getting out into the business, seeing what happens in the business. From if it's a retail business, go to the stores. If you're in distribution, get in the warehouse. Go for a drive in a lorry with a driver. Go and actually see what the people in the business are working on and how they're working. And I think that as well links back into building your credibility, because they appreciate that more than anything. If you're willing to get out there and see what they're doing and go to where they are and see be on the coalface, if you like, and understand their job and how they're working. So I'll take that as number 2. The third point I think that gets mentioned a lot, but it sort of gets missed a lot as well, is being able to listen. Influence is a 2-way street. So we're given one mouth and 2 ears for a reason, as they say. So I think listening is a key skill that you need to build on, especially when you become a finance manager, because like I say, if you can hear what the issues are in the business, what the business problems are, then you're going to be that will step further to be able to solve them. So I think it's that taking the time to respect and acknowledge everyone's opinion and let people know that you value them as well, so that they feel special, and it's building that relationship. It comes back to relationships. All of this is all of a finance business partner, manager type role is about the relationship and the communication. I think if we work on that, then in terms of those three key issues around building relationships, understanding the business and listening, you're well on your way to doing a good job as a finance manager.
Yeah, no, listening, I think is definitely becoming key, and active listening is definitely coming to the fore. Being able to take what people are saying and kind of distill out what the actual drivers of the issues are for them. That will take people a long way. Now, there are three really good points. So then moving on, business partnering, I suppose, across the business, does your team partner with the business directly then?
Yes, we do. So I guess I don't really have a team. It's the way the distribution finance works here is we all look after one area. So as I say, I'm in charge of the home delivery network, which is this showroom piece with Wix. So I partner predominantly with the head of distribution, the warehouse and transport general managers, and the operations managers across the business. But I've been getting involved in a few projects recently, which has meant that I sort of go out into the wider business as well. So we've been doing a big project on the cost of failure and how much that is costing the business. So through that, I've had to partner with a lot of different areas of the business that I wouldn't ordinarily be getting involved with, and understanding to begin with what's the impact across the business, what's the cost, what's the size of the prize, if you like, and then from there, what can we do to reduce the cost that we're spending on failure? And it's been quite interesting, and that's also, it's built my profile across the business, which has been all very good. And it's also made me understand the wider business. So rather than being very narrow and just looking at distribution, I've now got a wider understanding of the rest of the business. So I think getting involved in those sorts of projects really helps. And again, you're understanding the business, and when the head of distribution comes to me and says, why are we doing this, or what's this cost for, I can then explain more, using more deeper understanding of the business as a whole.
I find it is really interesting actually when you do projects and get to work cross-functionally, how your credibility increases and you get more time with the senior leaders across the business. And that's where I think a lot of finance people need to be more eager to put up their hands to do these projects instead of sitting behind the desk. When you get out there, it is a little bit difficult, I know, in the start, but once you get going, you see the benefits and that extra exposure. I know it did me the world of good back when I was working at Asahi and Sweps. Got a lot of face time with senior leaders from doing a project, and then you just become comfortable around them.
That's right, yeah. I think initially it's that pushing out your comfort zone to begin with, isn't it? And you're going to have that trepidation, but then your confidence builds, and the more, like I say, the more you do it, the more your confidence you have. And I think it's very much in a lot of organisations as well. They're very hierarchical, and can I speak to this person because they're 2 steps above me? But at the end of the day, they're people, and it's comes again back to relationships. They're people. Talk to them as people, and they'll respond.
And it's interesting. That's all your own perception that you can't speak to somebody too wrong.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
I had someone back a few years ago, and they were saying, "No, can you go and talk to that senior finance executive? You know him." Funnily enough, the person who was saying that to me was above the ladder than me. So, but because I knew they wanted me to go and talk to him, which was fine. What is the best advice or wisdom you've received in your career?
Well, I've heard this a few times, and it's very true. So I'm going to get a little bit deep here.
Please do.
So this is it's a saying that goes, "This too shall pass," which is a Persian adage that reflects on the temporary nature of the human condition. But I like it because whatever you experience in your job, your business, your life, it's going to be temporary. So you can use it in the bad times and in the good times. So if you're going through a bad time at work, you know that you can get, this is going to pass. You can get through this. You're going to get to the other side. but then also in the good times when you're enjoying some success, almost make the most of it because it's not going to last forever. So I think that sort of sums it up from a sort of a middle ground. This too shall pass. So always focus on what's going to come, because whatever you're going through at the moment, it's only temporary and it's going to change.
I really like, there's a similar piece of wisdom I found in a book. My kid, he's fine now, but he originally spent 9 months in hospital. So you're obviously asking a lot of why. And
Yes.
I was reading this book, and it was about a guy who treks across the trail in Spain. You walk from one side of Spain to the other, and it's called the Camino. But he was speaking to a priest there, and he said, there's no point in asking why. It's just, this has happened. What now?
Yeah.
Because you can't actually do anything about what's happened. You just got to go, well, what's the kind of next step? And that's very much the same with it shall pass. It's it'll go. What do you do now? So love that.
That's it. Yeah. What's happened has happened. Yeah, you can't, like you say, you can't change it. But let's focus on the future.
Yeah. So thirdly, then, what is your most hard-learned lesson in your career?
Now stay with me. So in finance, we wear a lot of different hats. We wear the finance hat, we wear the business hat, whether that's operations, sales, marketing, distribution, whatever it may be. And I think you need to, in business, that we've spoken about already, you need to get close to your business partners. And, I think some people would question how close do you need to get to them. And I think that relationship is key, because you can easily turn into a type of echo chamber, or a yes person, if you like. So you just constantly agreeing with your business partner, whether they're right or wrong. You become that person that just says yes. And I think that can then become really difficult. When you've built a strong relationship with your business partner, you always need to sort of maintain that level of impartiality, if you like. So if you sitting in both camps, you can always challenge and say, actually, I don't agree with that, or question your business partners. And I think sometimes it's very easy to, especially perhaps in the industry that I'm in distribution especially, that you sit in the operation, so you're away from the main finance team who may sit in head office, and you sort of get indoctrinated to their way of thinking and the way that they do things, which isn't a bad thing. You're getting close to your business partners, but at the same time, you need to maintain that impartiality, that you can challenge them and say, actually, that's not the right, or we spent this money, they'll give you some blarney, but then you'll go, actually, I don't agree with that because of X, Y, and Z. And I think you have that strong enough relationship, like we said earlier, it's not a difficult conversation. It's just you raising and challenging and questioning your business partners to push them on to do better things as well. So I think sometimes don't get close to your business partners, but not too close. Don't become that echo chamber, that yes person.
Close, but not too close. Yeah, indeed.
So there's a line, isn't there? And
then lastly, do you have a favourite business book and why?
I've gone for another bit maybe off the wall one here. So I've gone for Who Moved My Cheese by Dr. Spencer Johnson. Now, it's a book about change and a business parable about different ways that we deal with change. And I think it's got a very accessible narrative that you can read it in probably an hour and a half. And you can take a lot away from the story. And I've read it probably 2 or 3 times, and every time you think about something different from the story. So that I really enjoyed that. And it's not about mice and cheese at the end of the day. You can link it straight to what you're doing now or what you might be doing in the future. So that's why I really enjoyed that book. And I thought one for the Australian market, just to try and get on side.
Yeah.
I've read Andrew Jepson's book, Compliance to Commercial, Required to Finance Business Partnering. Yeah. And I really enjoyed that. And I think that it's very succinct, and it gives simple, actionable steps to becoming a finance business partner and what a finance business partner is all about. So those 2, I would say, are very good, and they're the ones that I really enjoy as business books.
Yeah, no, I have Who Moved My Cheese, and it's nearly for finance. Who moved my accounting job? Because now I need to be an analyst or a finance business partner.
Yeah.
thank you very much for agreeing to come on.
No problem at all. Thank you for having me.
Folks, thank you very much for listening in to today's episode. If you're not connected with Robin on LinkedIn, please do so. You'll get some more of his puns and his other content. You can, of course, subscribe to my monthly newsletter on my website, alancameron-sweeney.com, or you can just put my name into Google and I will come up, as I am the only Alan Cameron-Sweeney that there is. In the next episode, I will have an expert on to talk about the change mindset. Podcast is now available on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and by request, we're now live on Google Podcasts. So until next time, folks, happy business partnering.